Pumping supports breastfeeding. Yes, that's true. Perhaps you want to nurse a bit longer. Perhaps you're going back to work. Perhaps you need a little bit of extra support. Perhaps you need to pump because you're separated from your baby. Lots of scenarios require pumping to support a nursing journey. It's never the equivalent, but it's a support. So, today, me, Hafsa Qureshey, your lactation counselor, trainer, and educator, will be bringing you the top 10 tips on pumping. Pumping tip number 1, the right pump. Yes, it can make a big difference. The efficiency, the frequency you're pumping in, how effective your pump is it comfortable? Is it doing the job? Having the right pump is crucially very, very important. If you are a working mom, you want to make sure you invest in a double pump at least. It will cut your time into half. Secondly, double pumps are very efficient. They empty both breasts, they stimulate more, and that can help support your supply as well. All right. If you're occasionally pumping, not pumping daily, not pumping multiple times a day, then a single pump or perhaps even a manual pump, if it's very occasional, could do the job. However, learn hand expression as well. Perhaps you end up in a situation where you might not have your pump, so it's always good to know how to hand express also. Tip number 2, having the right flange size. If the flange size is not comfortable or it's incorrect, it can make pumping painful, and it should not be painful. If pumping is painful, something's wrong. Get the right flange which suits your breast to make sure it's comfortable. Because if it's painful, it will impact your supply, because it will impact the flow of oxytocin, the hormone needed for breast milk supply to increase and flow. Pain is not normal. Do not suffer in silence. Get your flange sizing rulers available on the internet. Check your size, get the right size flange. If your pump does not support different sizes of flanges, it's time to look for a second pump, or look into hackable situations where perhaps you could use a different flange with the current pump you have. Tip number 3, building a freezer stash. I always say, feed your baby, not the freezer. However, if you are going back to work, or if you're planning a travel, or you will be separated from the baby, at least 2 weeks in advance, ideally, try and pump once or twice a day so that you have combined enough so that on the first day back at work, you have a backup solution for the baby. And the milk that you pump while at work can be used for the next day. One very useful method of passive storage is while you're nursing the baby on one side, right? So the baby is nursing on one side of the breast. The other side, you could use the Haka milk collector pump. It's very easy to use. Let me show you. As you nurse the baby from one side, you can suction this on to your other side. And as the baby nurses and the letdown that's happening, instead of the milk going wasted into a breast pad, it can be passively collected here. And this milk, you can collect it over all the number of feeds, combine it, and there you go. You have one bag ready without any effort, without any active pumping. And this can be done immediately after birth. And over the 6 weeks, 8 weeks before you join work, combine, collect, and there you go. You have milk without any extra effort. Another very useful tool by Haka is this ladybug breast milk collector. It can replace the breast pads. So it's like a reusable breast pad, And instead of the milk being wasted into a breast pad as you leak, it slowly collects any leakages without any spillage. And then once you're done, you can remove it and safely collect this milk by tipping it over. So building a freezer stash just to have a little bit of mental peace can be very helpful. Definitely plan as you go back or as you approach the day you're going back to work or traveling, etc. Tip number 4, your environment helps a lot. Yes, your pumping environment makes a big difference. Make sure that you have a comfortable chair. Make sure you're surrounded by people who support breastfeeding. If not, try to find a place where at least you will be alone. Have your baby's picture, blanket, something to smell and remind you of your baby. That helps with the letdown. Have a glass of water, have your favorite snacks, be comfortable. Do not be stressed or sitting in a stressful situation because that can impact the milk output. Tip number 5, scheduling. Try and meet the same schedule as your baby. So for example, you are at work for 6 hours or you're away from the baby for any reason for 6 hours. You know the baby is going to nurse or take the pumped milk around 2 to 3 times in your absence. Try to pump at the same kind of frequency. This helps make sure that the breast is stimulated by the pump, and this helps maintain your supply, right? Because breast milk is all about supply demand. The more stimulation that happens, the more the supply will increase. So maintaining the same kind of frequency of stimulation helps ensure the continuity of your supply. Very important. Tip number 6 kind of continues tip number 5. I said frequency. It can be a bit difficult. Perhaps you have a meeting, perhaps the timing doesn't support you, perhaps you're in a situation or place where it doesn't allow you. So it is okay to be a bit flexible as long as you're meeting that frequency. Perhaps you pump while you're going or coming back from work, using that commute time to pump. Being flexible, like using a hands-free pump. Mombox has a few options on their website. Wearable pump, discrete pumping, having a nursing cover while you're pumping. All these things can help make things easy. Don't be very rigid because that's going to stress you out. Be a little bit flexible. Just try to maintain that same frequency. All right. Tip number 7, dress accordingly and appropriately so that it's easier for you to be able to pump. If we're wearing a difficult dress, it's a complicated one, it's going to make us reluctant, and we'll just think about the extra work we have to do just so we are able to attach our pump parts and pump. And that can be very discouraging and stressful, right? Perhaps invest in a nursing and pumping bra, a 2-in-1 bra. Haka has it thanks to the mom box. All right, it is a nursing bra as well as an amazing pumping bra which securely holds your pump or your Haka milk collector, etc. All right, so get one of those instead of having to undress and put on a separate pumping bra. Having this 2-in-1 solution helps solve that problem. Button down, front button down, zippers, something that's just easy to open up, put on, pump. Have a nursing cover or a big shawl that you can use to cover up just so that you feel comfortable and it's not stressing you out. So dressing appropriately, having the right tools makes a big difference. Tip number 8, pumping parts. It's always smart to have a few extra to save yourself from the stress of having to wash. Get a big Ziploc, just put in the used parts inside so that's easy for you to go home and wash them. Get a good insulated bag with a good ice pack so that your milk is safe for you until you're back home, and this milk can be used for the next day. There are many bags in there with built-in ice packs which could be used as long as it's insulated. your milk is good in it for up to 24 hours. Having extra parts helps reduce the stress in case something's dirty, you need to pump all of a sudden again. So always invest in just at least an extra pair or two of your pumping parts, just to make it easier and not worry about things that can be avoided. Tip number 9 is a pumping tip for any pumping mom who wants to increase her milk supply. It is called power pumping. So it's not just for working moms, it could be for anybody. Power pumping means mimicking or stimulating your breast, right? As though a baby is cluster feeding. Like we said, breast milk is all about demand supply. The more the baby nurses, the more the supply will increase. So power pumping, how do you do it? Let me leave you with this tip. What you do is you pump for 20 minutes. Both sides, double pumping, 20 minutes. You take a break for 10 minutes. Then you pump again for 10 minutes. Then you take a break for 10 minutes. Then you pump again for 10 minutes. And like this, you will complete a full hour. This can be done early morning. This could be done right after the baby goes to bed, before your nighttime sleep. I like those times because at that time your melatonin levels are high, and this helps with supporting with the increase of your oxytocin. But power pumping can be done at any time. Whenever you feel you need a boost to increase your supply, add it. Do it at least for a week, ideally 2 weeks, to see a difference in your milk supply. And last but not least, tip number 10. Having a large bottle of water next to you so you hydrate. Breast milk is 80% water, and you want to make sure you have everything in your reach. So have your water bottle, have your healthy favorite snacks. Eating and drinking things you enjoy can actually help your supply. Do something that keeps you busy, right? Doing something that you're enjoying, your favorite scent, listening to things that you enjoy, watching your baby's videos, or having your baby within your reach. All these things we enjoy, things that make us happy, are actually going to help with the release of oxytocin, which will in turn help your breast milk supply. Your pumping bottle, cover it up. Don't keep watching and looking so that you get stressed. Oh my God, I only made a few drops. Keep it covered. Check it at the end of your pumping session. Avoid stress, stay happy, and enjoy pumping. These were your top 10 pumping tips. Hope you found them useful. Happy pumping, happy breastfeeding, happy nursing, and happy World Breastfeeding Week. Mamas, do not suffer in silence. Reach out for support. You got this. You can do it. Let me support you on your nursing journey. You are not alone.